month after the Supreme Court's ruling overturning Roe versus Wade, the battle over abortion access is heating up in the states. New abortion restrictions are leading to confusion and new obstacles for doctors and for their patients. For now, abortion access remains legal in Kentucky. On Friday, a Kentucky judge ruled new abortion restrictions violate, quote, rights to privacy under the state's constitution. However, reproductive freedom keeps falling like dominoes in other states. This week, Georgia's law banning most abortions 6 weeks into a pregnancy went into effect. 6 weeks when many women don't yet know they are pregnant. Next Wednesday, most abortions will become illegal in Wyoming under the state's new law. While Republicans have momentum on their side, you can expect there to be more action on this on the Hill. That is why the U.S. House passed legislation this week enshrining the right to contraception nationwide. The bill now needs at least 60 votes in the Senate to pass. Meantime, House Democrats are working to keep the issue in the forefront. Capitol Police arrested 17 Democratic members of Congress during an abortion rights protest in Washington on Tuesday. California Congresswoman Sara was one of them, and she joins us now. Congresswoman, talk to me about why it was important to be there on Tuesday. You said you wanted to put your own body on the line to fight for reproductive rights. What is it going to take to continue to shine a spotlight on this issue?
Yeah, look, I'm a young woman. And so this is a deeply personal issue to me. This is my healthcare that we're talking about. And I'm feeling the same anger and rage and frustration that so many people across this country are feeling, that this right is being taken away and that these Supreme Court justices think they know more about my body and the healthcare that I need than I do and than my doctor does. And so I think it was important for me to go to show that we understand the urgency and the gravity of the moment, and that we are not going to let this right get taken away without continuing to fight and continuing to press and continuing to do everything we can so that every American has the right to make decisions about their own bodies.
Congresswoman, when you talk about protecting the right to contraception nationwide, talk me through what that actually looks like in practice.
Yeah, so what this bill that the House passed would do is that it would say anyone has the right to access contraception. Any provider has the right to provide contraception. And it would give you the ability as a private individual to sue any government entity that got in the way of you accessing that contraception. And, you know, for me, I used birth control pills in high school for debilitating cramps. I've had an IUD for years. I've had to use Plan B and was grateful that it was available over the counter. And so what this bill would do is it would enshrine that right so that you can't have government starting to say which contraceptives can or cannot be used, passing laws at the state level to get in the way of people being able to access contraception. This would enshrine the right that has been the law of the land for the last 70 years, because we know it's something that the Supreme Court might be going after next.
Congressman, South Carolina Republicans now want to censor the internet in part of their plot to ban abortions. The Washington Post reports a bill in the state, quote, aims to block more than abortion. Provisions would outlaw providing information over the internet about how to obtain an abortion. It would also make it illegal to host a website that is, quote, reasonably likely to be used for an abortion and directed at pregnant people in the state. On the flip side, women are worried data collected by period tracking apps could be used against them. I mean, as we enter in sort of this new frontier, what needs to be done to protect online data, ensure that people have access to information so they can make decisions about their own bodies without also worrying that people are using that information against them?
Well, Alicia, I'm glad you brought this up because I think this is a key issue. The post-Roe era is not going to look like the pre-Roe era. We have an entire surveillance architecture now that is very different than what than what we had in the 60s and the 50s. And so this is about so much more than abortion. It's about privacy, right? Because how they're going to figure out if you've had an abortion is intrinsically linked to what information government is going to be able to access about you. So I've introduced a bill called the My Body, My Data Act. And what it would do is create a new national standard for any reproductive or sexual health data. Companies can only collect and retain what is strictly necessary for them to provide the service. You can ask for that data to be deleted at any time. They can't sell it, and they can only share it with your express written consent. And similar to the contraception bill, individuals have a right to sue if they believe their data is being misused. And I think this is the level of protection that we need for reproductive and sexual health data, because we know that this data is currently that there are state attorneys general, small nonprofit right-wing groups looking at how they can use this data to go after people who are seeking abortion or helping people seek abortion. We see this Georgia law, and this is some of our most sensitive and personal data, and government should provide it the highest level of protection.
Congressman, you've seen all of the polling that I have seen, that our audience has seen, inflation, economy, top of minds. But you have a new NPR poll finding that abortion is now the second top issued among registered voters. And I wonder what you think your party needs to do in order to really motivate voters around this issue.
Look, I don't think it's a surprise that the more we're seeing the impact on real people's lives of these abortion bans, the higher it rates in what people care about and what they're going to vote on. Because I know for me, for my peers, right, this is our healthcare we're talking about. This is very personal, and it is an economic issue, and it is about our right to determine our own healthcare and the decisions that we make about our lives and our agency. And so I think it's important that we don't shy away from this fight, that we don't think that it's just something that affects a small group of people. You know, just this last week, I talked about my own use of Plan B on the House floor. A few weeks ago, I talked about my own period and period tracking apps on the House floor. And it was the first time either of those things had been discussed on the House floor, because for a long time, people felt uncomfortable about the topic. But the fact of the matter is, we have to talk about these issues, and we have to recognize that for tens of millions of Americans, including some of our biggest voting blocs, these are kitchen table issues. These are the things they're talking about and thinking about every single day.
Kitchen table issues indeed. Congresswoman Sara Jacobs, thanks so much for getting us started.